it was met with some scrutiny because it's not a typical Galvatron form, but I kind of like it. Not only just because the vehicle mode looks nice, and it's actually surprisingly big, but it's a good change. He doesn't necessarily always have to be a space cannon. But here he is, taking a quick look at him. Now his role in the movie is yet to be revealed. And as far as paint goes, there's not really a whole lot of paint that's missing. It could use a little bit more paint on the wheels here. Some nice silvers could have been used. Truck company logo on the front would have been nice, but maybe a little bit on the lights. But overall, it's not bad at all. It's fairly solid. I mean, you can just kind of see straight through this section of the truck, but overall, I mean, I'm very surprised by how big it is. It's a hell of a lot bigger than the Evasion Mode Optimus Prime. It's a pretty nice looking detailed truck mode. So let's go on to the transformation. Yeah, transformation is actually pretty easy, straightforward, but also I think it's kind of pretty fun. First, we're going to go on each side and take these panels back. And while we're on the legs, go ahead and separate them if they haven't separated already, and fold out the feet. Also, while we're on the legs, I'm going to go ahead and rotate them out like this and fold out the heels, which are a little bit tricky to get to, like so, especially if you have a little bit of shorter nail. There you go. And feet are pretty much done. Go to the front of the truck now and lift up both of these wheels up. And then we're going to take the entire cab section and lift it up, revealing the arms underneath. The next part, I'm going to stand the robot mode upright and just fold out the arms till they click in place, and the arms are pretty much done. And then I'm going to go ahead and rotate up the head till it clicks in place. Now you're left with this huge cab section on the back, but this is where a really interesting part comes up. Instead of a bunch of things kind of untabbing and folding over each other, it actually accordions to each other like this, flattens out, so it creates kind of this floppy pancake. But this hood will actually tab in place like there and keep everything secure, and it creates a pretty flat, although kind of wide, but pretty well hidden backpack. And we are left with Galvatron in robot mode, and I have to say I'm pretty happy with the outcome of this robot mode. When it was first revealed at Toy Fair back in February, I had some concerns of it being a little bit on the smaller side, just from, I don't know, just the way it photographed. It looked a little bit on the squat side. It just didn't photograph very well. Maybe just the way it was posed, or it was just something about it. But getting in hand, it's a pretty hefty Voyager class robot mode. It's the same size as the Evasion Mode Optimus Prime, which itself is one of the bigger Voyager class Transformers in any of the movie toys, and it's very thick in the limbs and legs and torso and neck, so it feels like just an overall bigger robot, which Galvatron should be. I always feel that Megatron or / Galvatron should be bigger than Optimus, and in this case it scales perfectly well with the Evasion Mode Optimus, which makes me very, very happy. Now, as far as posability goes, he does have a ball jointed neck up on top, underneath his neck. He does not have that double hinged neck like Evasion Mode Prime does, but he does have a very masculine looking physique as far as neck goes. His neck is very wide, and you see a bunch of little hinges and shit going on in there. It looks very cool. His shoulders have these little hinges up here to allow for some more posability. His arms are his cool little ratchet, and his upper bicep is on a swivel, and he has double hinged elbows because of the transformation, which I really like. He does not have any waist articulation, which is kind of a letdown, but he does have ball joint. He has the same kind of ratchety hinge that he had up in his shoulders and his hips here, and he has a upper thigh cut. He has really high knees for some reason, which is kind of a letdown because that's about as much of a bend you get in the knee, and even when you bring his legs all the way up and bend the knee, his feet don't go too much higher off of the ground or table or whatever you have him on. Galvatron comes with one accessory, and it is his plasma cannon type thing, which is kind of cool. It has a couple of options. You can either have him hold it like a more traditional gun, but I prefer it has this other peg here, which you can attach in his fist eventually, and just because of how the gun is molded, it actually looks like the bunch of wires and cables like kind of grew out of his arm and wrapped around together to form a cannon, which I really like that look. It looks pretty cool. It's kind of a shame that they left this part in the front of the gun unpainted, because in the pictures it's painted black. I guess it's supposed to be one of his truck tires, but they left that gray, so that little bit of detail is left out. And speaking about unpainted details, let's talk about the paint job. It is mostly a unpainted plastic, but in the instructions, which are beautifully colored, you can actually see that it was along with the gun was originally supposed to be painted black at the front. His face was originally supposed to be painted silver, which would have brought out a lot more of the hidden detail in his face. If and there we go. So the detail is there. It's just kind of hard to see if unless you get really up close to it. And I'm actually considering painting the face silvers to bring out the detail. And I'm also more than likely going to take the head apart and paint the light piping in the eyes red to give him his Decepticon red eyes, so he doesn't look so lifeless, because that's what I hate about light piping. If it's done right, it looks pretty good, but I mean, if it's done wrong, which this one has barely any light piping, but it says like clear plastic, he looks lifeless, he looks dead. So it's kind of unfortunate there. So I'm definitely going to take apart the head and paint the eyes red, which I always just prefer the look of painted eyes instead of the light piping. Now, a lot of people are having concerns about Galvatron's role in the movie, because there's not a whole lot of information about his character to have been revealed, whether or not it's a rebuilt Megatron, whether or not it's controlled by humans, whether or not it's sentient, if it's a completely different character. It's left to be just up to anyone's guess. But with the reveal that the character is actually be voiced by Frank Welker, legendary Transformers voice actor who did voice Galvatron in the animated series, not in the movie, there's still trying to bring the essence of the Galvatron character to the movies. I'm perfectly fine with that, whatever they do. I mean, as long as they get his personality right, I'm okay with it. I'm excited to see how they portray his character in the movie. The toy is fantastic. They turned a Cybertron-esque robot mode into a human Earth-based vehicle mode with very little backpack kibble. I'm happy with it. It could use a little bit more silver detailing, especially in the face, to bring out some detailing, but that's a problem pretty common with the Transformers in this toy line. But I do really recommend it. It's a surprisingly fun toy. It does leave some customization possibilities for any customizers out there, so I definitely really recommend picking this one up, just because it's just a very It's fantastic sculpt, really fun but simple transformation, and a surprisingly big but cool looking truck mode. Definitely pick this one up.